Am I the asshole for going home when my wife didn't let me into the delivery room? So my, male 28, wife, female 29, gave birth a few days ago. We had what I believe to be a fairly standard pregnancy, and I did my best to take care of things and make it easy for her. I took her to the hospital when she was due, and her sister and mother met us there. The problem started when she was taken to the delivery room. She asked the nurse that only her mother and sister, female 27, be allowed in the delivery room, and then told me that she wanted me to wait until I've delivered and calmed down before letting me into the room. I was kind of shocked and didn't want to make a scene, so I just said okay, and sat down in the waiting room. We had not really discussed the plan for the hospital, and I had no reason to think that I wouldn't be there when my son was born. I texted her sister if she knew my wife was going to do this. She said no. I told her to ask if my wife was concerned about something because I don't consider myself someone who would have made a fuss or made things more difficult for her. She texted back after a while, saying, "My wife just doesn't want you to see her like this," and then added that she didn't agree with my wife and tried to convince her, but ultimately it was her choice and I should respect it. I sat in the waiting room for 6 hours getting minimal updates as the labor was fairly slow, and then I decided that there was no point, so I texted her sister that I was going home. I'd meet my son when they brought him home and handle the birth certificate stuff the next day. They came home about 9 hours later, and I was finally able to meet my son. When my wife's mother and sister left, she got very angry at me for leaving her at the hospital. I was angry too, but I told her that we can talk about this in a few days because she has just given birth. She wouldn't drop the subject, so I finally told her that she excluded me from the birth of my son for no reason. I didn't see the need to hang around a hospital waiting room for hours doing nothing, and that even her own sister thinks that what she did was wrong. She said there could have been complications and I needed to be there, to which I replied that I wouldn't have been there because she kept me out of the room and the doctors would have handled any problems anyways. She called me an inconsiderate asshole and has been short with me for several days. Her sister told me I should just apologize and move past it because it was a stressful time for my wife, but I think I'm owed a bigger apology first for how I was excluded from my own son's birth. OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the asshole. 1. I went home after my wife didn't let me in the delivery room, and 2. It is generally considered an asshole move to abandon one's pregnant spouse during labor. Quote, "We had not really discussed the plan for the hospital. Everyone sucks here for this right here. Y'all just thought everything would go okay and didn't even think to make sure you were on the same page about a major medical procedure / bringing a person into the world?" OP's response, she had mentioned that her mother and sister would be there, which I was fine with. She just neglected to mention that I wouldn't be, and I guess you can blame me now for not asking, "I'm allowed to, right?" and assuming that both parents would be there for the birth of their child. Okay then, I had originally had the reaction of the commenter you're replying to, but this shows you did have conversations about who would be in the room during delivery, which she never mentioned not wanting you there. I guess you didn't specifically clarify, but I wouldn't expect that to be something that you would have to clarify. That was something that she had to have made clear from her end, if that was what she wanted. Total not the asshole. I'm with you. When discussing who was coming into the room, the wife should have specified that she didn't want OP there, since the father is normally there. I would be very upset too if my wife surprised me like that. Not the asshole. If your wife didn't want you to be in the delivery room, that should have been discussed ahead of time. She essentially shut the door in your face and expects you to have just waited in the uncomfortable waiting room for 15 hours. That's not okay. Not the asshole. Your wife can have sex with you and committed her life to you, but she isn't willing to let you be there while she gives birth to your son? That is so bizarre to me. I don't blame you for leaving, and it was really rude of her to expect you to wait around and not let you be involved. Not the asshole at all. Wife didn't want you in the room for no reason other than she didn't want you to see her like that? What? And then she expected you to just sit there for hours in the waiting room. Your wife is pretty inconsiderate and rude not letting you see the birth of your son. Am I the asshole for yelling at my husband and telling him to get over himself after he threw away my tampon box? So we, me 27, him 30, have been together for 3 years, but married for 2 months. So here's the thing. I used to use pads for my periods, but recently was able to start using tampons. I have medical problems. In comparison, tampons work 10 times better for me, especially when I'm outside. Say like at work or traveling. My husband Ryan hates them. He never truly gave me a reason other than just say, he doesn't feel comfortable with me using them. I didn't think it was a big deal at first, since he said he hates a lot of stuff that I do but puts up with it anyway, except for this. He asked that I go back to using pads, but made it clear since it's my body that I get to decide. He threw away some tampons he had access to, and I was getting upset, but to keep the peace, I just bought a box and hid it away from him. He somehow found it and threw it away. I didn't find out until I had my period yesterday and realized I had no tampons to use. I was tired and too stressed. I just yelled at him after he admitted to throwing away the whole box, and he argued that I already knew how he felt about this stuff, and yet I decided to keep it around. I lost it and told him he had no right to do this, and told him to get over himself already. He stared at me, almost about to tear up or something, and then walked out. He later went on about how we, as a couple, should take each other's discomfort into consideration and said he already tried to speak to me about those tampons, yet I brushed him off and insulted him and verbally abused him. He also said that if I still insist on using them, that I should do it while I'm outside the house. But I said it won't happen. I feel bad for how it played out, but I was just at my wit's end and in so much pain I lashed out. Did I go too far here? Does he have a valid point or not? What the hell? Not the asshole at all. What is wrong with your husband? He can be uncomfortable with your choice of menstruation products all he wants, I guess, but he doesn't get to make it your problem, and he definitely doesn't get to throw away your tampons. I can't fathom what on earth he could be thinking. Based on how he's talking about them, does he think that you were smuggling cocaine in them or something? Not the asshole. What the hell did I just read? I don't understand why he cares if you use tampons. Is his penis smaller than the tampon and he feels threatened by it? Info. What other things does he put up with? Are all the issues related to your self-autonomy? And OP says, I don't know. He just made this statement out of nowhere. In fact, I was shocked to hear this because he doesn't usually complain or say he's feeling uncomfortable by anything I say or do generally, so that part confused me a lot. You guys just got married, and he might start trying to crack down on things that he previously put up with. This is how abuse escalates. I hate to toss that word around frivolously, but this is exactly what it is. It's control. It's control of OP's body. This is beyond a red flag, it is a neon sign. He's adopting the language of the victim and calling her abusive for defying his attempt to control her body by trying to make her period management out to be some sort of democratic process that he is entitled to have a say in. That in itself is almost as big of an indication of abuse as the attempted bodily control itself. This crap is so unreasonable, it is literally like saying, I don't like the taste of Dr. Pepper, so you can't drink it. You can only drink Coke. It has nothing to do with him, and the only explanation is an abusive level of entitlement to her body. At best, he is unknowingly behaving abusively as a result of extreme patriarchy-informed ignorance, being threatened by a roll of cotton, and misogynistic entitlement. The idea that he has any effing right to lord over what she uses for her period, that he has fully embraced without question. I'm so mad that any person would take this crap and think it's even the slightest bit acceptable. What on earth? Tell him to wear a diaper for a week and see how he likes wearing a pad. I legit get a rash if I wear pads. Not the asshole, but he certainly is. What the hell? Not the asshole. Does he think you get off on having fuzzy cotton shoved up inside you? He sounds weird. You should not have to hide basic hygiene products in order to use them. And OP replies, I'm sorry, but this seems strange. I don't know, but this just seems strange. What seems strange, OP? And OP replies, the possibility of him thinking that I get off using tampons. It's just not normal. I mean, I never thought about it like this. I mean, it's where my brain went, that his issue was with tampons specifically. I think you need to ask him what his actual issue is with the tampons and what makes him uncomfortable exactly. Not just, it makes him uncomfortable. That isn't a reason. Am I the asshole for being too close to my ex-husband? 6 years ago, I got divorced from my now ex-husband. There was no drama that led to this. We simply realized that we were no longer happy or in love, so it would have been a clean break if not for the fact that we had a daughter who is now 11. Neither of us wanted to lose full custody of her or miss important moments in her life, as she is the most important person in both our lives, and we debated on trying to make it work just for her, but realized that that would only lead to all three of us becoming miserable, so we entered an arrangement that many of us would view as unconventional. So when we sold our house, we used the money to buy 2 semi-detached houses that were joined and had a door installed between them. The construction company tried to warn us against this as it would affect resale value, but neither of us had any intention to sell, so we had them go ahead with it. We also had them take down the fence between both our backyards so our daughter would have an extra large back garden to play in. Many of you may balk at the door, but there is an agreement. It is strictly for our daughter's use, and neither of us can use it barring any emergencies, say a fire, a medical emergency, or something being wrong with our daughter. She has 2 bedrooms, 1 in each house, and every day she can pick where she wants to have breakfast, dinner, and sleep. I won't lie, it was awkward at first, but for her sake, we made it work, and even regained a lot of the friendship we had lost, even though it was of course strictly platonic now. Last year, my ex-husband married his girlfriend of 3 years, a lovely woman who I'm actually friends with, and I was even a guest at their wedding with my daughter being one of her bridesmaids. All in all, it's an arrangement that everyone is content with except my boyfriend, who I started to date 2 years ago. He understood the arrangement entering into the relationship, and while he said it was a bit weird, he never protested and all seemed well. Things are getting more serious, and we've been discussing moving in together, and he has made it clear that he wants me to move as he doesn't want to live next door to my ex-husband. I understood that, but told him that wouldn't be happening as my daughter had to come first, and our arrangement gave her a stable upbringing. He got upset with me and asked me how he was supposed to be a father to my daughter when she already had a dad and he was literally a wall away. I won't lie, this took me by surprise, as I had no idea he wanted to be a father to her. I told him gently but firmly that he wasn't her father, that she already had one, and that even her father's wife didn't try to be a mother. Instead, she is called by her name. I told him that if he wants some kind of familial title, he could be an uncle, but I wouldn't give him permission to take her father's title when he is very much involved in her life. He told me that if I loved him, I would move for him, and despite me trying to tell him I do love him, he isn't listening. Am I the asshole in this? Not the asshole. Sounds like you have very clearly explained how things work in your world. Kudos for coming up with a unique parenting method that puts your daughter firmly as the most cherished outcome of your previous relationship. Your new boyfriend may not be compatible with your uniquely blended family. Bit of a red flag that he wants to appropriate the title of father. Good on you for nipping that in the bud. Well done, carry on without him if he can't get the brief. OP replies, even my ex-husband's wife doesn't get called mum or any variation of that. She is called by her name, and when my daughter is feeling particularly affectionate, a nickname. So yeah, I wasn't going to let him be father. Not the arsehole since you were honest from the beginning, and your boyfriend's "don't love me" arguments seem to be his ego and insecurities speaking. Not gonna lie, but I love the fact that you two have put the love of your kid and her having some stability before your own egos and needs. I hope that you have the strength and mental sanity to keep doing that, even if that would mean breaking up with your unreasonable boyfriend. Do him a favor and break up with him. He isn't going to be happy. You and your ex did this thing, and your ex is lucky that he found someone who didn't have a problem with it. You may not be so lucky, but that is a chance that you took doing this. It's hard to move on, and most people are not going to want to pursue a relationship with this kind of arrangement. That works for you, and you are happy with it, then that's good. There is no way to compromise here. You aren't budging, so break up with this guy and let him go. Actually, I would argue that hopefully any emotionally mature adult would see the beauty in this arrangement. Imagine getting involved with someone and you see firsthand how well they resolve such an issue and how they are able to make an unusual decision that ends up being the best for everyone involved. OP sounds like a frickin' catch to me. Not the asshole. He knew what he was getting into. You and your ex have done well with co-parenting. I'm impressed by your maturity. Your current partner is not your daughter's father. He should be treated with the respect he deserves, of course, but he has to recognize your ex is going to be in your life for the sake of the daughter you both share. If he can't deal with that, then perhaps seeing a woman with children isn't for him. I'm child-free by choice, and I would also find it hard to be the partner of a man with kids. What would he rather? Your daughter be hurt by a deadbeat dad? Thank God your daughter doesn't have to face that. Am I the asshole for letting my mother die? First, a little background info. My family is extremely religious, Mormon, like purity ring religious. But luckily, me, 27 female, and my siblings went to a public school, where I met my now husband, 28 male, when we were around 13/14. To my parents' extreme dismay, he was raised by 2 gay dads and is Asian. They tried to keep me from seeing him and forbid me to talk to him, but we became friends immediately and later started dating. That's when my twin sister decided to tell my father that I had slept with him, which led to them kicking me out at 17. Luckily, my boyfriend's family helped me. I haven't spoken to my family since. Skipping to today, my husband and I have been happily married for 2 years, and we have a 5-month-old daughter together. Then a week ago, I get a call from my mother telling me that she was diagnosed with cancer and needs a kidney transplant. My twin sister, we are identical, is a perfect match, but since she is 3 months pregnant, she can't donate, so I would have to do it. I hung up on her. She has called me 67 times since then, and my entire family has been harassing me online. My twin sister even found out my address and showed up to my door, telling me that I was letting my mother die because I was petty over the fact that they didn't like my insert slur husband. My husband and his family support me 100%, and I think I'm okay with my decision to ignore my mother. But what do you guys think? Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. Your mum not getting your kidney won't kill her. Dialysis can keep her alive long enough to get your sisters. Exactly what I was going to say. Not the asshole. 10 years ago, you were disowned by your FOO till they want something that you have. Your mother has other options. If she can't get a donor, or if other offspring or relatives aren't a match, or she can't wait till your sister has her baby, how sad. By the way, just because your sister is a match doesn't mean that you would be. Here is my favorite thing to say. If their parental obligations ended at 17 when they threw you out and never spoke to you again, any familial obligations you had towards them ended at the same time. No one has the right to demand another person's organ. You are jeopardizing your health and wellness for a bigot who probably will stop talking to you the second they get what they want. She can do dialysis until your sister gives birth, and your sister can then donate her kidney. Your sister could get an abortion and donate her kidney if it's so important to save your mum right this minute. Your mother could get a kidney from a different person because she is most likely on the transplant list. There is literally no reason for you to give her your kidney. Just block, 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 and block some more. Send them a cease and desist letter, make a police report for harassment, do whatever you want. Not the asshole. Cops should be involved now. They stalked your home without being given that information. You don't owe them anything because they now found a use for you. Does her situation suck? Yup, but it isn't your responsibility to fix. There are doctors out there who can provide all the care she needs until your sister gives birth. She just doesn't want to, so you need to do it. Am I the asshole for demanding my girlfriend to change her dress for a wedding? This happened during this weekend. Me being in my early 30s and my girlfriend in her late 20s. I was invited to a wedding ceremony of a colleague and could bring someone with me. I asked my girlfriend that I've been dating for a year if she would like to join me, and she was really happy because she apparently loved weddings. Since we don't live together, I drove to pick her up so we'd have some time to spare before the ceremony. As she comes out, she looks really beautiful and has obviously put in the time to fix her hair and makeup. She's also wearing an off-white dress that was rather ornate. As she got in, I told her that she looked stunning, but I asked if she could change to a different colored dress for the ceremony. I'm not one for etiquette by far, but one of the few things that I've read everywhere is that you should not wear a white dress to a wedding unless you're the bride. She became pretty upset and wanted to know what was wrong with her dress. I said that it would be inappropriate to wear a white or an off-white dress unless you were the bride, and that it's like wedding law or something, trying to be light-hearted about it. She rolled her eyes and said that it was an outdated tradition about women and virginity, and that when her friends got married, everyone wore white and that it's not a big thing anymore. I told her that I don't know what the dress code is for the ceremony, but since it's not saying all white clothes, I still thought she should change to another color but white, or almost white, because my colleague was getting married and we had no idea how she felt about it. My girlfriend became really upset and told me that I was trying to control what she was wearing and that it was abusive, which honestly made me really upset and hurt. I said something along the lines of, "Damn, well, you shouldn't go to a wedding with an abuser then," and then I told her to get the F out of my car. She began to cry and wanted to apologize and give me a hug, but I just told her to get out, which she did. I drove off and she called and texted me a bunch. I answered, "I don't want to talk right now," and then turned my phone off and attended the ceremony. The bride was the only one that was wearing white, so I feel as if my gut feeling was the right one. When I got home, my phone had blown up by texts from her and her best friend saying that I was being inconsiderate and controlling and should apologize for my behavior. I have vented to a few friends, most of them agreeing with me, but some have said that it was an asshole thing to tell her that she could not wear her dress because it had nothing to do with me. I feel as if I was in the right since it was my colleague's wedding and it was better to be safe than sorry, but I'm also not sure if I was being an asshole about the situation. So Reddit, am I the asshole? Not the asshole. Your girlfriend should have known better. Unless you know the couple and they have no issue or it's a request, you do not wear white. She also overreacted, and you did the right thing by asking her to not go and to get out of your car. She overreacted because she 100% knew the rule. Yeah, the only way her attitude makes sense is if she is an attention seeker, for not saying something else, or if she was testing OP somehow, boundaries, or when inevitably someone in the wedding party asked her to leave to see how OP would react. I wonder if she has met and dislikes co-workers. This seems like a pretty deliberate snub. It doesn't matter if she's met her. To some people, anyone of the same sex within the realm of existence of your partner is automatically competition that needs to be overcome. I'm not sure if that's what was happening here, but there is no need for the two to have met for it to have been a snub. Absolutely not the asshole. And your girlfriend sounds like an attention-seeking nightmare. Literally everyone knows you are not supposed to wear white to a wedding. Even if she magically had not heard the rule, the second you mentioned it, a reasonable person would have changed dresses just to be safe. She clearly wanted to be the center of attention and create drama, and when you wouldn't allow it, she created drama another way. I would honestly end this relationship unless you want to end up married to one of those just-no mother-in-laws who wear white to their son's wedding and then act mystified when the bride gets upset. And OP says, "Thank you. I've been thinking about ending the relationship, partly because I feel like I'm too old for what it is, especially if it's drama. And also, if she legit thinks that I was being abusive, then I wouldn't want another person to feel that way about me." Not the asshole. I have a feeling you found out why your girlfriend likes weddings so much. If she really loved weddings because she loves to see all the different styles and designs, she would know not to wear white or off-white to a Western wedding, but she knew that what she was doing and told you up front that she loves weddings. Believe her, she won't change. Not the asshole. Never thought that I'd comment that on a post with a title like yours. It's concerning that your girlfriend would call your etiquette corrections abusive. Has she ever been abused before? And OP says, "Not from what she has told me. She knows that I've had abusive family members and that I'm very careful to not act in a toxic way and do my best to always communicate how I feel before there's an issue." Oh, so what I'm hearing is that she is using your past to manipulate you. You know, the way an abuser does. Damn, I never thought about that. I really hope she wouldn't say something like that to hurt me like that. Yeah, I will say that we are seeing a snapshot of your life, so to base a definitive decision about a pattern of behavior off of a single action is wrong. If this is not the kind of thing that she would say on a regular basis, then she may very well have just made a poor decision and she definitely would still be the asshole, but in that circumstance, she wouldn't be abusive. However, if she has a habit of saying things like this and kind of manipulating the situation to try and convince you to do something, then you might want to consider the possibility that she is abusive. And OP says, "Thank you. I will definitely have to think back. Most of our relationship has been very easygoing and carefree, and to be honest, I think this is the only major time that I've totally been against one of her decisions, besides like where to eat and stuff." Relationships come with plenty of disagreements. If the first one you've had ended with her calling you abusive for not agreeing with her over something so small as you should change your clothes, I'd bet my bottom dollar that it will be a repeat offense. And that's where I end today's episode. As always, I do hope you enjoyed. If you do, let me know what you thought of it. Comment down below, smack the like button, do whatever you want, drink some water, and have a good day. Bye.